All right. So we're going to go ahead and get into the NFL power rankings for the preseason. This isn't the regular season, week 1. This is going to be preseason. So we're going to go ahead and get into these power rankings for the preseason, week 1. We're going to start off with number 15 coming in hot, these Carolina Panthers. Now listen, Bryce Young, whether or not he's going to go out there and be able to perform, we will see this week. We will see if he can go out there and he can ball out. He can be the person that he needs to be, lead this Panthers team in a good direction. And let's get into it. It says Carolina has welcomed back its wayward son, Frank Reich, after 2022 brought the Panthers nothing but noise and confusion. They're hoping 2023 gives them a glimpse behind any sort of illusion to have them soaring even higher. Also have the best defense coordinator in the division after Ejiro Evero. Evero's arrival does bring a scheme switch to a 3-4 base, but the personnel they have is more than capable of making it work. All of this is capped off and centered around their number 1 overall pick, Bryce Young, who is surrounded by a coaching staff with lots of quarterback experience. I like what the Panthers are building, and spoiler alert, they are my pick to win the NFC South. This is not my pick. This is USA Today Sports, just so you guys know. And so you don't get crazy on me. This is someone else. I'm just starting off and seeing if this makes sense for a top 15. So there you go. Shout out to Faith Is Me. It says I'm stuck with the Broncos. All right, let's go to number 14, the Detroit Lions, which I don't agree with this at all. I don't agree that they're number 14, but we'll get into why. It says if they could stop gambling for 5 minutes. Wow. That's a strong statement. I tell you what I enjoy about the Lions. For starters, we all love Dan Campbell. He's what happened if Stone Cold Steve Austin became an NFL head coach. That's actually pretty funny. As a matter of fact, if the motto for the 2023 Detroit Lions isn't show up, raise hell, leave, then a ginormous cash grab opportunity for T-shirts is being lost. Regardless, their offensive line is among the best in football, and the likes of Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown are going to turn games into track meets. We've already talked about this. I told you about that run game. It's going to be crazy, and I'm excited to see it. The secondary was the worst unit for Detroit in 2022, and all they did to fix that was sign all of the hottest available defensive backs in Cam Sutton, Emmanuel Mosley, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I like the direction of the Lions. We'll see how they do with actual expectations. But why do they have them at number 14? Doesn't make sense. But we'll keep it going. Shout out to Rick. Lions will be a decent team this year. Yes, they will. Brian says, number 1, stop gambling. Yes, just stop gambling. You'll be fine. All right, number 13, Cowboys. Okay. Where are we going with this one? Dallas terrifies me, and not in a good way. You know, they need to start paying Jay, like, big money. Because if they can do this, I can do this. This is USA Today Sports with this list, by the way. All right, so 13, we've got your Cowboys. It says Dallas terrifies me, and not in a good way. They fired Kellen Moore. Oh, no. They hired Brian Schottenheimer. Oh, no. And Mike McCarthy will be calling the offense. Merciful heavens, now there are some aspects of the Cowboys to be optimistic about. Micah Parsons is good. I don't know if anyone has told you that yet. They also acquired Brandon Cooks from Houston to be their burner, while CeeDee Lamb can eat defenses in the intermediate game. All right, we already know this. All the aforementioned issues, as well as Tony Pollard's timetable for return being unknown, and Zach Martin is a very angry lad who wants to be paid and is in the midst of a holdout. All of that combined with the fact that the last time the Cowboys had 3 consecutive postseason appearances was 94 through 96. Ooh. You can say I'm a little skeptical about what 2023 could have in store. So then why are they number 13? They shouldn't be in the top 15. I know you guys are going to be mad I said that, but that's just the reality of it. Shout out to Duke. What up, yo? What's going on with you, bro? Faith Is Me says Jerry Jones is still alive, so Dallas will still be. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. All right, let's keep it going. Number 12, Seattle Seahawks. Okay. Maybe, yeah. Shout out to Jerry Jones. What up, bro? The Seattle Seahawks were the walking embodiment of the Kermit sipping tea gif in 2022. Everyone, myself included, expected them to be terrible after trading Russell Wilson to Denver, when really the opposite became reality. That is a fact. Everyone thought that Seattle was dead and that Denver was next up, and it was the complete opposite. The Broncos went 5-12. The Seahawks went to the playoffs right in the right arm of Geno Smith, whose career resurgence was enough to make grown men think that if they trained hard enough for a year, they could qualify for an Olympic event. Stop hating on Geno Smith. The man has the experience. He has the years in the game. And he's got a decent arm. And guess what? Pete Carroll knew that, so he chose him, and he proved it. But let's keep it going. With the additions of Jackson, Smith, Jabba, and Devin Witherspoon to 2 units, they were already very good. The Seahawks should be right back in the wild card once again, and maybe even competing for the NFC West title. I said that. I said don't sleep on the Seahawks. And they'll come out balling this year. Shout out to Faith Is Me. You know the Bud Light pronoun or whatever? Forget it. Anybody remember the frog commercials? Remember the classic was that Budweiser? Remember that back in the day? That's so classic. Oh man. All right. Let me keep going. All right, number 11, Baltimore Ravens. All right, I mean, I guess we're starting to make some sense now. Ravens at number 11. It says it's a telltale sign of how horrid Lamar Jackson's receivers have been when fans treat 30-year-old Odell Beckham Jr. like the Ravens just signed Randy Moss and Jerry Rice rolled into one. Wait a minute. Are they really hating on Odell Beckham Jr.? This is wild. All right. USA Today, y'all got some issues over there. We gotta have a conversation with Tommy Gilligan. It says that I love what the Ravens have, and I think Todd Monken's offense will be a welcome change to the stale attack of Greg Roman, but I'll echo what I said about the Chargers and say it about Baltimore. They need to stay healthy. I can't bank on Lamar, Odell, and Rashad Bateman all staying healthy all season. John Harbaugh will get the best out of whomever they have, but the Ravens have to have a shorter injury report to have any real shot at a Super Bowl run. I will agree with the second part of that take. The injuries are going to be the biggest thing. If you lose Lamar, if you lose Odell, if you lose Bateman, you're basically right back where the Ravens were last year. And that's the reality of it. But if they can stay healthy, you're going to see these Ravens in the playoffs. Definitely. Faith Is Me says, yeah, and Denver is like a retirement home for old quarterbacks. What's next? Roll out Elway for the one last ride. You know what's funny? If Elway was to come back, he might even actually do decent. Just arm strength alone, right? Because he'll know how to work that pocket. Shout out to Data. Say this channel is legit and a great substitute to watching live games. The speaker has great insight and loves the Buffalo Bills. Go Giants. Peace. Shout out to you, Data. Thanks for the support, my friend. Thanks for that. Means a lot. Also, shout out to Alec Miras for subscribing. Thanks a lot. Welcome to the channel, my friend. Thank you for subscribing. All right, who we got at number 10? Number 10, Miami Dolphins. Okay. Says Jalen Ramsey getting hurt puts a big damper on things for the Dolphins, but I still think the pieces they have for Vic Fangio's system, especially their defense front of Christian Wilkins, Zach Seiler, Bradley Chubb, and Jalen Phillips. My question is, will the offense replicate what they did last season? We wouldn't want them to replicate what they did last season because Tua got hurt. So we wouldn't want them to replicate that. But it goes on to say, yes, they're going to be very fast again, but how they will counter when teams attack them like the Chargers and the 49ers both did last season. Plus, can Tua Tagovailoa stay healthy, and can he continue to be that proficient? And how will the Dolphins fare against the still great Bills and the expected to be much better Jets? I think they take bronze in that division, but will still be a likely wild card team. Listen, if Tua stays healthy, like I said before, I'm going to give them their respect. But as far as AFC East goes, I'm going Bills, Miami, Jets, and Patriots. I'm still sticking to that. It's not changing for me. Until we get, through these preseason weeks and something drastic happens, I'm still staying there. Shout out to Duke, yo. All right, who do we got for number 9? These Chargers. Okay. So I'm going to regret this so bad that sentence alone sums up the Chargers. Any sort of belief in them is rather unjustifiable. Wow. They blew a 27-0 lead in the wildcard round to the Jaguars. I mean, it's the Jaguars now. They're not just some pushovers. And somehow Brandon Staley kept his job. The only reason for the optimism, of course, is Justin Herbert. That quiet killer that Chargers have at quarterback keeps me and several others drinking the Kool-Aid. I've been drinking the Kool-Aid too, I'll be honest. Kellen Moore should take the lid off the offense a bit more than Joe Lombardi did, and the weapons he has at his disposal are still reliable. The Chargers just need to stay healthy. Several key players missed significant time with injury in 22. The word if is a big one for the Chargers, but their potential is certainly great. I had the Chargers having a good year this year. And yes, that's the San Diego Chargers to you guys. I had the Chargers having a decent year. Once again, we can all get into stats. We can get into, who's great, who's going to do what. The big thing when it comes down to teams like the Ravens and the Chargers is going to be injuries. Because that's what defines whether or not if they're going to be able to compete at a high level with these other teams that have so much firepower. That's the reality of it. Moving on. Number 8, the New York Jets. You mean the New York Packers. As we get into this one. The Jets won 7 games last season with human tackling dummy Mike White and Cougar alumni Cougar Hunter Zach Wilson as their primary quarterbacks. Adding a 5-time MVP into the mix will certainly go a long way. The defense is astounding, and their young stars have potential to get even better. The only thing that will keep the Jets out of playoffs will be distractions. Verbally jousting with Sean Payton because he said something correct about Nathaniel Hackett isn't what this team should be doing. If they keep their mouths shut and their heads down, they'll be a force. If they get distracted by outside noise, well, we know the Jets. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now. The fact that you had Mr. Aaron Rodgers going back and forth with Sean Payton, this man has to prove himself. Because if he does not, and if the Broncos end up beating the Jets, this will probably be one of the biggest slaps in this man's face in his career. So there you go. Jets number 8. Who do we got for number 7? The Steelers. Wow. They're putting the Steelers over the Jets. All right. Number 7. Pittsburgh Steelers. Says Mike Tomlin should get a Nobel Prize for somehow scraping together 9 wins after a slow start and a quarterback change mid-season. With a cast of young stars who now have a full season and another offseason together, combined with new talent that was added to the roster, I really like the Steelers in 2023. Kenny Pickett has looked fantastic in camp. His confidence, poise, and rapport are all night and day different for the better. The weapons he has at his disposal, along with an improved offensive line and defense that features 3 All-Pros, Pittsburgh is going to win a lot of games. Listen, Mike Tomlin still has – he's currently 15-0 for winning seasons. The man knows how to win. He knows how to coach a team. And guess what? He's got a great quarterback in Kenny Pickett. I like that Kenny Pickett and Pickens. Say that 20 times fast. I like that Kenny Pickett and George Pickens duo. I think they're going to ball out. I want to see more of Najee Harris get out there and ball. And that Steelers defense, this may be the year of the curtain. This may be the year of that iron curtain. We'll see. We shall see. Fade This Means says the Steelers have to perform or the city riots. That's without a doubt. Duke says Dalvin Cook. Listen, I think he might end up down in Miami or the Patriots. We'll have to see. All right, next up, we got number 6. Ooh. Jacksonville Jaguars. I've been working on it, ladies and gentlemen. The Jacksonville Jaguars. It just rolls off. It's real nice and smooth, just like the vehicle. Exotic luxury. All right, let's get into these Jaguars. Number 6 on the list. Trevor Lawrence is my preseason MVP pick. I'll get that out of the way now. This is Corey Perrine from the Florida Times-Union, just so you know. With Calvin Ridley, Evan Ingram, and Christian Kirk leading a really deep group of receiving threats, it'll be a pleasure to watch Goldilocks and the 3 Jags go to work offensively. Not to mention Travis Etienne and Jamal Agnew, who will have their own roles offensively, and the Mad Hatter Doug Peterson calling the offensive as he does so well. The secondary does worry me a bit. Outside of Andre Crisco, there isn't anyone I love, but their front 7 is full of guys that can all be called upon evenly. Listen, I think the other Josh Allen, he's going to do great. Without a doubt, we're going to see that Jags defense step up this year. They're going to be a little bit more hungry. I think last year, obviously, it was a lot of the jitters that they had from being a young team. This year, they're going to be more refined, and we're going to see a decent Jacksonville team. I'm not gonna write them off. Mr. Long Hair don't care. I think he's gonna ball out. Definitely think he's gonna ball out. D-Max says Jacksonville is, I don't know. Lawrence is a bit overrated. I wouldn't say he's overrated. I think he's right where he should be. Obviously, you have a ton of people that believe in him, but when it comes to where they're ranking the Jaguars and him respectively, I think he's where he should be. Jabba says, why is there only 18 people watching? Well, we got a chill night. It's Wednesday. People doing family stuff. It's still not cold yet, so people out living life and all that good stuff. So, but they'll all be here come Thursday. They're ready for the games. They don't like to hear Jay talk unless we in full season mode. Sheila says, rather be called wires and wads. Shout out to you, Sheila. All right, who's next? Number 5. I don't like this at all. I don't like it at all. Number 5, 49ers. Really? Shanahan and company? All right. Some will say that the 49ers should be higher. Oh, look at that. Obviously. But my top 4 is reserved for teams whose quarterbacks I can rely on. For the 49ers, I can rely on everything else. But when you have questions about the most important position in sports, I'm not putting you above Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen. Sorry. The rest of their roster is terrific, though, and already loaded defense added Javon Hargrave in the middle of the defensive line. Fred Warner is the best off-ball linebacker in football, and their offense is basically the NFC Pro Bowl team. Even then, until the 49ers go into season knowing they have a guy at quarterback, they won't win a Super Bowl. We do know who's going in at quarterback. It's going to be Brock Purdy. It's already been figured out. There you go. There's no excuse for this. 49ers should be higher. And I'm going to tell you why. Excellent weapons at offense. Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk. We go on the defensive side. As he said, Hargrave, Warner. Did I mention Bosa? His name sends chills down quarterback spines. But right now he's working on his contract, and you know how that goes. He's trying to get the bag. So shout out to Nick Bosa. I hope he does. And this 49ers team is not going to be something to play with, so don't sleep on them. Brock Purdy is currently resting as well, so we may not see him in preseason. So when he comes out, he's going to be strong and ready to go for week 1. So D-Max says if their quarterback stays healthy, they're definitely a top contender to end up in the Super Bowl. Winning it all is always a toss-up, of course. Shout out to Patty. What's up, Patty? Shout out to you. Number 4, my Bills Mafia. All right, let's get into it. Last year was supposed to be the Bills' year. Yes, it was. It looked like the Chiefs were going to go through a little bit of a reload. They have who many believe to be the second best quarterback in football, Josh Allen, and a defense that added Von Miller. Unfortunately, injuries, weather, the Damar Hamlin incident, all these things became obstacles that were difficult to overcome. Once Von Miller was lost for the season, none of the Bills' pass rushers could do anything that signified they'd be a Super Bowl team. This is so wrong. This is absolutely wrong. Even with the defense that we had, if our offense would have just stepped up, we definitely could have went to the Super Bowl. Without a doubt. And, the sad part about, all these columnists and analysts and all these guys who get paid millions of dollars to talk about the same thing that we talk about every day have takes like this. Goes on to say this year, though, they are still strong. They'll get Von Miller back in the back half of the season and try to put together a run at a championship. One of two things will happen for Buffalo. We'll all look back at the Stephon Diggs minicamp ordeal and laugh after they hoist the Lombardi, or serious questions will be asked about if Sean McDermott is the right guy at head coach. I agree with the first side of that. I think Sean McDermott's the right guy. I'm glad that Leslie's gone. I'm going to say that again. I'm glad that Leslie Frazier is gone. You want to fight me about it? We can fight about it. But I'm fine with him being gone. There you go. I don't like it. They had Bills at number 4. So who's at number 3? The team that was in the Super Bowl? Okay. Even though they lost, they're number 3. Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles were within a nose hair of possibly winning the Super Bowl, but fell just short. The Eagles lost the aforementioned Javon Hargrave and C.J. Gardner in free agency, but they added Terrell Edmonds and half of the University of Georgia to make up for it. That is true. The Eagles are the best team in the NFC until proven otherwise, and with how top-heavy the conference is, they are only a select few that will threaten to take the crown. So why are they number 3? If the Bengals are number 2, I'm going to be upset. We're just going to get right to it. How can they be number 2 if they didn't make it to the Super Bowl? And we can't keep forgetting that Burrow probably had the worst start to the season of any of the top quarterbacks last year. Are we not going to include all the sacks and all the issues that he had before they got it together? But the Bengals number 2? This is absolutely wild. All of Ohio collectively held his breath when Burrow hobbled off the field. Yes, he was injured during camp, so it'll be interesting to see if he's going to play week 1. But he's healing right now. He is healing. And was eventually carted off what was later revealed to be a calf strain. For the Bengals' sake, hopefully their starting quarterback doesn't miss any regular season games. The Bengals did lose some talent from the last 2 seasons. Von Bell and Jesse Bates now call the NFC South home as they sign with the Panthers and Falcons, respectively. They did, however, extend Trey Hendrickson, and as long as he, DJ Reader, and Jermaine Pratt are in the front 7, the foundation of Cincinnati's defense will be great. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins will continue doing their thing as well, and as long as Burrow is healthy, it'll be business as usual for the Bengals. Now listen, the big problem with this is obviously the core team for the Bengals are still good. But you have Burrow, who now has an injury in both legs. The right knee and the left calf. It's really going to be interesting seeing how this plays out for Burrow. Both his legs have injuries. So I would be watching that. If I'm a fan or if we're watching, I'm watching his legs. I'm watching to see if he's trying to get that ball off faster and if we start seeing him throw more interceptions because he's trying to get rid of that ball so he doesn't get hit. Getting it to number 1. You should already know this. We already know who's number 1 on this list. It's going to be your Kansas City Chiefs. Super Bowl champions. Obviously, they'd have to be number 1 for the preseason power rankings. Totally get it. What is there to say that wasn't already be said about these Chiefs? They have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. You don't need anything else. Obviously, You do need a lot of other stuff. You need a Juju Smith-Schuster. You need a Travis Kelce. All right. You need a Hardman. You need some defense. All right. Come on now. They just made it really easy. We know. Kansas City Chiefs, they're number one. But they're going down this year because I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I got to get y'all riled up. I don't think Kansas City's going to make the playoffs. I said it.